Joe Batista. Just a little bit of information about Joe before we bring him up. Joe attended Penn State and played defense for the Icers from 1979 to 1982. After graduation, he became an assistant to the marketing director for the NHL's Pittsburgh Penguins for 3 years before returning to Penn State and becoming head coach of the Icers in 1987. In his 19-year tenure as head coach, Joe compiled a record of 512 wins, 120 losses, 27 ties, for a winning percentage of .800. At Penn State, Batista also served as the executive director of the Nittany Lion Club from 2006-2009. While at the Nittany Lion Club, Batista helped grow the club to a then record 23,000 members. Under his guidance, annual giving to the athletic department increased to record levels and resulted in support for more than 500 student athletes and 29 varsity sport programs. Joe was also instrumental in facilitating the $88 million donation from Sabres owners Terry and Kim Pagula for the Penn State ice facility and NCAA men's and women's Division I hockey teams. It was in 1991 that Joe became co-founder of the American Collegiate Hockey Association with Marcia Stevenson and Al Murdoch and Don Spencer, who's not here, as well as Tom Keegan. Those are our founding fathers. None of us would be in this room had they not started the ACHA 25 years ago. So thank them or blame them. It's up to you. When they started out, the membership was 20, 21, 22. 25 years later, we're closing on 500 teams, which is unbelievable. Joe also served as the second president of the ACHA from 1993 to 1995. Joe led his team to 6 ACHA Division I national championships. He was chosen to be head coach of Team USA at the World University Games in 2003. Joe was recognized as the ACHA Men's Division I Coach of the Year twice, and in 2006, Joe was awarded the prestigious Don Spencer Award. In 2013 to 2015, Joe served as the Vice President of Hockey-Related Business for the Buffalo Sabres. Joe recently took a job at Lock Haven University. Please join me in welcoming ACHA Hall of Fame member, Joe Batista.
I just want to know if that counts as part of my 15 minutes.
No.
Thank you guys. It's an honor to be here, and just the memories that flow from being around so many good friends, colleagues, rivals that have become friends. It's really, for me, very emotional to see what this organization has become. It all started in McDonald's in Chicago long ago with a couple of tough conversations, and I still to this day believe the smartest thing that we did was we went to the gentleman I will refer to as the godfather of the ACHA, Dr. Al Murdoch, because I don't think it would have ever happened without Al, because Al was the guy who really knew everybody. He helped us pull everything together, and so Dr. Murdoch, hats off to you for being the glue there. But my wife Heidi is here with me, and when I was preparing my talk, I said, when you think back to everything that's gone on since the ACHA formed, what stands out most to you? And she said that it was how rivals could become such great friends and colleagues. And that really resonated with me, because to this day, some of my best friends in hockey, outside of hockey, are the guys I played with at Penn State, the guys I coached with, the guys I coached, and then the coaches, and even some of the players from other teams, and the relationships that we built. that really means an awful lot to me. I was going through some old hockey photos, and I found a picture where Al Murdoch and I are sitting in Colorado Springs at the inaugural master's level USA coaching certification. And about 20 years after that, he and I are coaching together in Tarvisio, Italy, with our ACHA team that represented hockey at the World University Games. So it's amazing. I've got a jersey it's the only one that hangs up that's not a Penn State jersey. And I got it from Dan Morse at Ohio University. And it was, Ohio University was Penn State's biggest rival in the day. We really went at it. We had some great battles. But there was always respect. And Dan gave me that, and you know, I kept thinking, what am I going to do with this? You know, it's an Ohio University jersey going to be hanging up in my house, kind of thing. What I remembered was a former assistant coach of mine said, you know, great champions are made by great adversaries, and that's what we had. Because during those years, you know, there was a stretch where it was either Ohio University or Penn State winning the national title. And we pushed each other. I know that. We made each other better coaches. Our players pushed each other, and that was an awful lot of fun. Matter of fact, in 2004, when we lost to Ohio University by a goal late in the game to lose the national championship, I came home and I was pretty distraught because, you know, I'm pretty competitive and I hate to lose to them. And my wife said, you know, Joe, we're going to paint your office. And she said, here's what color I'm thinking of. And I said, I don't care. Paint it whatever color you want. It doesn't matter. So the next morning I get up, I go downstairs, and there's the guys painting my office, and they're painting it Bobcat green. And I looked at her and said, whoa, are you kidding me? So we kept the paint, and we put it in our bathroom downstairs. So I told Dan, I think about you all the time, Dan. But that's really, when you think about what we've done with hockey, and last night was a great example, the stories just start flowing. And you young guys and gals in the audience, you'll understand that, you know, the older you get, the better you work. And, you know, it's like the fish was this big, and, you know, we all have great memories, and just love telling. I never get tired of some of the stories. And so when you look back at everything that's going on here, it really is amazing to see the growth. I can remember coming down to the AHCA meetings, and that's when I first met Al, and the entire AHCA convention was in this room. Now you see how big it's all grown in hockey. It's so great to see this game we love has gotten so big, and it's continuing to grow. And it's awesome to see that. So I want to make sure I thank Paul and the ACHA board for inviting me, and Mike Wally. I love the flow. I just, you know, I had a big afro back in the day, so I could have raised a lot of money for blocks for life there. But we shared so many great things, the guys that are here. And when I think back to the start, okay, everything that we did was for one thing, and that was for the student athlete. Okay, and I guess if there's one thing that you take out of my little talk tonight, it's that every decision that you make as an organization, as leagues, as coaches, keep it with the student athlete's welfare in mind, because that's what we're really all about. Okay, we're not going to be cranking out NHL guys, right? That's not the niche that we have, right? We're here to mold young men and women and make them better people, and hopefully send them out into a community representing the great sport of hockey, the ACHA, their schools, etc. So don't get caught up in the, well, it's all about me thing. You know, in the movie Patton, I don't know, some of you older folks will remember that. You know, at the end of the movie, he talks about in Roman times when they would win a great battle, the conquering general would be ridden down Rome and in a chariot, and a slave would stand behind him with a wreath, golden wreath over his head, so that he could be honored. And the slave whispers in his ear a warning that all glory is fleeting. Okay, so it's really cool that I got to spend part of my career with two different NHL teams, the Penguins and the Sabres, and that we won some national championships. All right, that was really cool. Winning those, that was fun. But at the end of the day, that's not what matters to me. When people ask me in my career, what are the things that I'm most proud of? They're expecting me to say, well, you know, that I helped get the Pagula gift at Penn State and we built an arena, that we, you know, I worked in the NHL, or that we won these championships, etc. And I say, no, that's not what it is. And if you don't believe me, you can go Google this, because there's an article about it. And Google's never wrong. Okay? I said, no, it was being one of the founding fathers of the ACHA, because hundreds of thousands of lives have been or will be impacted positively because of what we did here 25 years ago. It's amazing, like I said, to see that little group that we had. Ernie Ferrari from Stanford, Jeff Akins from North Dakota State, my rivals, Jim Gilmore from Ohio University, Leo Golombiewski from Arizona, and many others. But it was the group, Tom Keegan, Marshall Stevenson, Don Spencer, and the Godfather, Dr. Murdoch, and I, that I think really we tried to make sure we were doing this thing the right way. And if the smartest thing we did was getting Al to be the George Washington of the organization, the second best thing we did was to get Don Spencer to be the Thomas Jefferson, because he did the heavy lifting, writing the bylaws and the Constitution, and, you know, getting all the really hard stuff done. I probably would say I was the John Adams of the group, because I was the rabble-rouser. That's probably a fair statement to say there, Al. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. We had some knockdown, drag-out battles back in the day, coming up with eligibility rules. And rather than bore you with that today, go on the website. There's an article that talks about how we all kind of came together and worked to start the organization. And so, again, I'm not going to bore you with that. I'd rather you just take time, but make sure you do that. There's a couple other people that I think are important in my life with hockey. Paul Cohen and Ray Longer were my kind of consigliaries, as I would call them. We used to, they're both professors at Penn State. We used to just call them the DOCs, the docs. And to this day, when I have an important decision in my life, I can go back to those guys and talk to them and trust them to help give me advice. And it's that shared passion of hockey, our alma mater, that allows that to happen. One of the things that makes my heart really shine is when I can call up one or two of my former players that live in New York City to try to have dinner and show up, and 18 of my former players are there, and it happened in one day. And that's cool. And I hope for those of you that are coaches out there that you'll remember that, because that's ultimately what really matters, is those relationships. Earlier tonight, Mo Strummel, good friend, former assistant coach of mine and longtime coach of our various teams at Penn State, said that, you know, Joe, we came down here, we've been coming here for 20-some years, and he said, I just really appreciate the fact that you made us, despite going out the night before and having a few pops, that you made us all get up and go to all those coaches' sessions, because it really made me a better coach. And that's true. We all are better. And we make each other better because we challenged each other to learn the game, to become better coaches. So again, I really appreciate those guys and what they've done, my former assistant coaches. Let me mention today that those of you that are getting recognized, congratulations. Those that won championships, well deserved. Never forget that. You know, those moments come too few times in this life. And don't ever forget the people that have made the supreme sacrifices too. And you know, Donna and the Radakovich boys, class acts. I mean, your dad would be so proud, and we miss him. So I'll tell you one story about a particular player of mine, and this is where we as coaches make all the difference. Andy Strasser is a young man that grew up in Sydney, Nova Scotia. His father was a Penn State grad. And I was fortunate enough to get him as a legacy, came to Penn State, and when he arrived, immediately got homesick. He was an engineering student, because that's what his dad was. And things weren't working out very well. He was miserable. He wasn't playing very well, so he wasn't playing very much. And he wanted to leave. And we were able to sit down with him, with our academic folks, with the docs, as I call them, and we helped that young man figure out that he didn't want to be an engineer. You know, he wanted to do something different. And we stuck with him, and he stuck with us. And Andy went on to a great career with us. He was our team captain his senior year. Got a degree in biobehavioral health, stayed on to get a master's degree and a PhD in biobehavioral health, and was my first assistant coach that received a stipend at Penn State. And he is now a professor at the University of Pennsylvania, an Ivy League school. And that makes me really proud, because we could have given up on him and he could have given up on us. And when I think of the ACHA, it's stories like that that matter, okay? Those kids, they're still close friends. We will do anything to help one another, and it's great to see that. I will leave you with a couple of things here. How am I doing on that over and under, by the way? Because I had some money on the side now. Take care of the kids. Winning will take care of itself. Remember that. As an administrator, as a fundraiser, as a coach, remember this. Try to turn the no because into a yes if. It mattered that we never gave up on our dream of getting a new arena built at Penn State and getting the program up to Division I. It took us 35 years to make that happen, but it did. And it was a lot of work, and a lot of people helped make that happen. If you don't make waves at some point in your life, you're going to drown, okay? You got to go for it. Find something that you're passionate about in your life. And for most of us, certainly it's hockey, or you wouldn't be in this room, right? So make sure that you set your goals high and understand that it's going to be hard. There are going to be times when you're going to be challenged. You're going to have to make ethical decisions. You're going to have to make financial decisions. Okay? I used to talk about every Thursday when you posted that dress list, I was laying off 1/3 of my workforce. Right? 10 kids were sitting up in the stands. We had 30 guys on the roster because we had to pay the bills. Right? And I'm sure I wasn't the most popular guy among them and their parents. But I had to rehire them on Monday in time for practice. And you never know when one of them is going to make a difference. Sean Waters, in 2002, came to me 3 weeks to go in the season and said, "Coach, I'm ready. I want to do it." He's a senior. "I want to help the team. I'm ready." "Sean, I love you. You know I love you, buddy. Hardest working guy in practice, but you know, I can't promise you're ever going to dress in the national tournament, let alone get to play. Okay, so just do me a favor, keep doing what you've always done. Work hard, make everybody else around you better." But, "Oh, Coach, I'm telling you, I got a good feeling. I'm going to..." 5 guys got hurt in the last 3 weeks of our season leading up to the national tournament. And Sean was in the lineup and scored the very first goal in the national tournament for us in a game that we won barely 2-1. Okay? And in the championship game against Illinois, I was able to have Sean out on the ice for the last shift as a senior when we won the national championship. Okay? So those are, again, those special memories that make a difference. So you're going to make hard decisions in your life, right? Remember to always keep the kids first and foremost. So a couple other things here. I'm going to ask you to be courageous people and courageous leaders because somebody has to care. Okay, somebody always has to care. And I don't care what it is, hockey, some charity, something at work, something with family, you have to care. We're in this society right now that I like to refer to as the age of rage and critics without credentials, as long as you can put it in 140 characters, right? I get disappointed that kids don't talk to one another the way we all used to, us old farts, okay? But the only way you're ever going to get better, the only way you're ever going to learn is by sharing ideas. And at some point in your life, you have to be willing to put your ego aside and look at somebody who you don't agree with and figure out a way to be civil, be empathetic, okay, and be able to compromise to get something done for the good of the order. Okay? I like to say, and I learned this from one of my assistant coaches, empathy is something that we all should have a lot of. Okay? And if you disagree with somebody, do so without being disagreeable. And if you still disagree with them, try to walk a mile in their shoes. If you still disagree with them, you're a mile away from them and you got their shoes. Come on, laugh. Surround yourself with people who will make you better. I got that from Badger Bob Johnson, right, I was fortunate enough to get to know. Met him down here, okay? And that created a friendship that lasted a decade, and he was taken from us far too soon. Never stop learning. The day you think you know it all in this game, do us all a favor and get out. You need to be a life learner. I always get a big kick out of the fact that a few years ago when the Detroit Red Wings started using the left wing lock, it was like this revolutionary thing. Until you really study the game of hockey and find out that teams have been using it a lot longer, okay? If you ever read Lloyd or Percival's The Hockey Handbook, anybody ever read that book? Okay, a couple of you. Do you know that the Russians based their entire hockey system on Lloyd Percival's hockey book? He's Canadian. Think about that. And he wrote that book in the 50s. So always try to push yourself. Keep learning. Keep teaching. Okay? We have an obligation to teach the younger generation what we've learned. Okay? That be part of something bigger than yourself. Be bigger than anything you could do by being a good teammate. Always go above and beyond. Deliver more than you promise and raise that bar for everybody in your organization. Have an attitude of gratitude. One of my favorite movies is a movie called Excalibur. And there's a scene at the top of the mountain after the Knights of the Round Table win a final battle. And Merlin the magician gathers them all around and says, look upon this moment and savor it. You can say one day that you were there, that great victory. And then he says, for it is the doom of men that they forget. Okay? I'm going to ask you, don't ever forget where we got started. Okay? A lot of people went before those of you that are in the room and made a lot of sacrifices. So when you're thinking about your decisions, always think not only about the present or the future, but remember where we came from. Okay? Try to keep that in mind, and then do the sleep test before you make big decisions, because it matters. All right? Last but not least, remember that passion and persistence are two of the best traits you can have. Okay? I can't tell you how many people told us we would never have Division I hockey at Penn State, and we would never build a new arena, and that even if we did, it wouldn't be successful. Well, all that happened was student ticket section sold out in 3 minutes. They're playing in front of 106% capacity. Every game is sold out. They made $1 million profit in their first year, and the rink broke even. That's not too shabby. Okay? And again, a lot of people were involved in that and sacrificed quite a bit. So at the end, here's what I'm going to leave you with. And I know I already lost the over-under, so sorry. Go home from these meetings knowing that you're always going to put your student athlete first. Okay, that's a challenge. Always make sure your student athletes are first. When you get home from this conference, I want you to go write, email, pick up the phone and call, or go visit some coach, teacher, friend, or relative that made a difference in your life, and thank them. We don't do that enough. Okay? So that's a challenge to you. Figure out what it is that you're really passionate about, personally and professionally. Put it in writing, tape it to the mirror, so that every morning when you get up, you stare at the one person that can make it happen. Okay? And if you do those things, a lot of good things are going to happen. So let me wrap this up by saying that my friends and colleagues that are back there, Ashley, Bevan, Brian, where's Brian Moran at? Brian here? Oh, over there. Al Murdoch, Marshall, Bill Shannon, Paul, Mike. I can name so many people. And I wish Tom Keegan and Tom Spencer could be here. My heart is so bright because of what we've accomplished here as an organization. And I hope that you'll remember to make a difference in young people's lives. They need us. They need our leadership. Okay? And I hope that you'll remember that it took a bunch of us to get together, have some battles, do a lot of things that, you know, people said could never get done, and we made them happen. And I am proud to be one of the members of this organization, and I'll always do anything I can to help it. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. We have much to celebrate tonight. as we recognize those who have achieved great outcomes this year, as well as those who have dedicated so much of their time and energy over the many years to develop the ACHA into what it is today. At this time, I'd like to bring up Men's Division III Commissioner Dave Kurtz and Vice President Scott Solomon to present the D3 awards.
Good evening. Men's D3 had another tremendous year, growth in not only in the number of teams that we have, but in our special events, showcases, and other things that make our season special. I want to start out and recognize and thank the 4 regional coordinators. I think they have gone unsung for many, many years. They do a lot of the heavy lifting, the day-to-day operations of Men's Division III. So just a real quick thank you to them for helping this year move along as smooth as it has. That's Aaron Bain out in the Pacific, Sean Weaver in the South, Justin Berger in the Atlantic region, and Chris Van Termen up in the North. Again, truly thank you guys for all that you do to kind of help move this season along and keep us organized. I'd also like to thank Division II Men's for lending us their new commissioner, Jay Peacock, during the eligibility time, very important time for us. As we needed the help during that period, and for allowing us to steal their regional coordinator as our new Men's Division III Commissioner, Dave Kurtz. Welcome to the family. Okay. Our national go ahead. Our national championship was hosted by the Michigan Collegiate Hockey Conference and the Western Michigan Sports Association in Grand Rapids this year. After 5 long days of action, Oakland University hoisted the cup after a victory over Aquinas College. The game was end-to-end and truly gave the national championship what you would expect to see in a game like that. The Grizzlies went 5-0 during the tournament with a goal differential of +34, led by tournament MVP Chris Helleberg. I would like to thank the volunteers that made that tournament run as one of the highlights of our season. That list certainly includes, but not limited to, those MCHC coaches that were not participating, as well as Josh Petrusma, who did a tremendous job with all of our video and the organization. Again, 2 weeks after that tournament, sorry, skipping a page here, 2 weeks after that tournament, we held our Division III All-Star Challenge, once again hosted in Westchester, Pennsylvania by Jim's Bins and the gracious staff there at Iceline Quad Rink. That showcase has always been the best collection of talent that Division III has to put on the ice, being a showcase of all our-star teams. Summed up perfectly with our championship game there with Michigan and the MCHC Blue beating the MCHC Red team in overtime 3-2 in a tremendous hockey game. This, again, really quickly, I'd like to thank Rhiannon Volpe from Newman College for all the help that she gave me in that event, helping that run smoothly. A tremendous volunteer, and certainly her help was much appreciated. This year's Player of the Year in Men's Division III was Kyle Gagnon, goaltender from the Oakland University. Kyle's numbers rivaled the ridiculous nature of Oakland's numbers this year, with logging over 1,500 minutes, posting a record of 24-1. With a goal against average of 2.1 and an unbelievable save percentage of .929. Congratulations, Kyle, and capped off his season with the national championship once again with Oakland. An award that doesn't get much recognition, but to me is really a positive influence on the big picture here with the ACHA, the Community Service Award. The 2015-16 season winner of the Division III Men's Community Service Award was Mount St. Mary's University. Like I said, this award means a great deal to Division III and the rest of the ACHA because it truly shows our ability to give back to the community that supports us. Many of you operate in a local small-town community, and the support you get from that community means a great deal. And I love the fact when groups like this can give back to that community. Mount St. Mary's ran 3 different community service events this season, with the flagship being a food drive collecting over 6,000 non-perishable items. Donated to families in need of the local area. They added to that event by capping off a 100% participation blood drive with all members of the organization participating, as well as an alumni event to raise money for the Veterans Foundation of 2 separate local communities. The collection of all of that, as well as their constant efforts to give back to that community, is why Mount St. Mary's University is the Men's Division III Community Service Award winner. Congratulations to the Mountaineers, head coach, Father Jim Donahue, and all that participated in those events. Finally, the 2015-16 American Collegiate Hockey Conference Men's Division III Greg Stathis Coach of the Year Award. I'm going to read about it a little bit, so I don't need to quite get up yet. But this year's award winner, Troy Barron from Oakland University. Troy's been the head coach for the last 7 seasons of the Oakland University Golden Grizzlies, once again capping off this season with the ACHA Men's Division III National Championship. The Grizzlies also won the MCHE Vezina Cup, finished the season with an almost unbelievable 36-1-2 record. Troy was also given the MCHE Coach of the Year Award, as well as the Dream Team Coach of the Year Award, both from his league. He began his coaching experience at age 14, when he was instructing the Eurocam hockey schools based in Toronto, Canada, spending the entire summers away from home, again at the young age of 14. His 19 years of instructing and coaching experience have had Troy lead teams through state championship and national runner-up appearances by the USA Eagles midget AA team, as well as state championship and national semifinalist with the USA Eagles Pee Wee AA team. Troy was also the co-owner of the sports management firm Team Michigan Exposure Program from 2005 to 2010, which trained and promoted players all to the next level, inclusive of guys getting to juniors, college, and professional hockey. Troy played hockey for South St. Mary's High School in Minnesota. He followed that up by playing 3 seasons for St. John's University in Collegeville, Minnesota from 96 to 98 under head coach John Harrigan from the U.S. 80 Olympic team, before unfortunately ending his career due to injury. After college, Troy moved to Michigan and into the marketing side of hockey, all while continuing as a trainer and coach at the various levels of hockey throughout the state of Michigan. Troy now resides in Kent, Michigan, with his wife Lori and his 2 sons, Michael and Blake. Troy, congratulations on a truly remarkable season. Come on up.
It was a great honor to accept the 2016 ACHA Division III Coach of the Year Award. It's certainly an individual award, but I wouldn't be standing here today without my staff, my players, and Captain Bob. One of the things, talking about my staff, Zach Orson, my assistant for the last 5-6 years, has been wears every hat an organization can have. I need to show up to the rink. He gives me film. Everything's done, scheduling, recruiting, everything. So special thanks to Zach. I really appreciate all your efforts, and it's like a brother, from another mother. Pete Gibb, first full season as an assistant. Last year he worked with our goalies, and Kyle. And we had a second goalie, but he didn't see much ice when you're winning every game. And it's a true testament to Pete. A little nervous at the beginning of the season. He missed a couple practices, and then he kind of said, all right, it's full time now. All right, so Pete's first year with us, this year full time, and his position is goalie, and goalie gets goalie of the year. So thanks again to Pete. I appreciate everything he's done and everything he brought to the table. I feel there's good difference between good coaches and great coaches is attention to detail. And Pete was able to help us get that little bit of attention to detail to tweak us just a little bit to win. One of Captain Bob, the announcers at the national tournament started calling our captain Captain Bob. So fits, I guess. Bob started 5 years ago, came in as a freshman, His story is what, it's really the kind of what we were trying to build at Oakland when I started 7 years ago. When Bob came 5 years ago, we told him, he said, you might play 5 games out of 40. Are you willing to pay the money, sacrifice, all that blood, sweat, and tears for 5 games? And as he leaned forward, I remember this like it was yesterday, he said, I'm willing to put in the steps. I understand I'm a freshman. I'm willing to do the roles I need to do to get to the next level. And that passion right there, his senior year, he's captain and he wins a national championship. So that is the passion that I instill in my guys, 7 years ago, but I think with the leadership that he's had before him, and he got to be a senior captain and win a national championship, that's what I want to pass on to my team and having him be on our staff. He's graduated, and he will be on staff for next season. So he'll be assistant coach next season, and we're trying to get guys to keep staying with the program and having that passion. Last but not least, I want to thank my family, wife Lori, Blake, who's still up, Michael, my dad, extended family, and just say thank you for your support along this journey. And I appreciate everything. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you, David and Scott, and congratulations, Troy. Moving on to Women's Division II, I'd like to bring up the 2014 Women's Division I Coach of the Year and current Women's Vice President, Scott Hicks.
Thanks, Paul. Again, I'd like to thank everybody for attending tonight. I'd like to thank Mike. I think this is a great event, and we're glad we were able to pull this off. I'm going to keep it a little shorter, give you guys a quick notes version, like Scott. So, it's been a very good year in the women's division. Our growth within the organization has been, we've doubled our membership in 2 years. The women's division II has grown over 20 teams in the last 2 years. So the growth potential and our growth in general has been enormous. And so I'd like to thank this board and everybody in this room for that opportunity. Our women's division II player of the year was Sam Jenkins from Central Michigan University. It's the first player of the year that Central Michigan has ever had. Our Community Service Award winner was the University of Delaware. They raised over $5,000 over 6 events, including a military appreciation night and a Pink to Ring game. Our Division II national champion was the University of Minnesota Duluth, their first ever title. They won in a double overtime thriller, and 2-1 over Rain River. Our coach of the year, and a little bit about him, is from Northern Michigan, Sean Parker. He, the second season as a head coach, Northern Michigan, he's led them to 2 national tournaments, 2 CCWHA tournament championships. He led them to a 25-8 record this year, and an astounding stat that his program had. They had a plus 170 goal differential. They scored 224 goals in 35 games this year. So it's an astounding number that he was able to put together. They lost the heartbreaker in overtime in the national semifinals, but they made a great run and had a tremendous year. So from Northern Michigan University, Sean Parker.
All right, just like Scott, I'm going to keep this pretty quick. This was really a great honor. I'm proud. I feel as coaches, your goal is not to win Coach of the Year. That being said, this is pretty awesome. Your job as a coach, obviously, as we were talking earlier, is to help and grow and teach the game that we all are here for. I feel like I want to say thank you to a couple people. Northern, obviously, the team for giving me the chance to start coaching. The program was very on its downward spiral before I took over, and with the help of Scott and Molly, they've got emails from me all the time asking questions. They probably hate me. Like Scott said, after that we kind of went on a good roll, made the national tournament 2 years in a row now. I'd also like to thank Northern again for getting my butt down here. If it wasn't for them, I'd still be freezing up in the UP with 20-degree weather and snow. I'd like to thank my family, my dad who's here tonight. He taught me everything I knew about hockey, coaching me my whole life. Lastly, I would just like to thank the ACHA and the coaches for honoring me for this. And thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Congratulations to Sean. Now I'd like to bring up our Men's Division II Commissioner, Jay Peacock, and the 2008 Men's Division II Coach of the Year and current Vice President, Paul Loudon.
Good evening. We had quite a rocky road in Division II starting off. I came on board in the end of November after the passing of Mike. Certainly wasn't the way I wanted it and the way anybody else wanted it, but I gotta thank the coaches in Division